You know, the tech world is completely 100% obsessed with AI, and hey, for good reason. But today, we're going to look past the immediate hype. We're going to dive into a really fascinating, kind of counterintuitive idea that the biggest problems with today's technology are actually the best roadmaps to the biggest opportunities of tomorrow.
So let's set the scene. Every year, the entire tech universe descends on Las Vegas for CES, the big tech show. And while all the headlines were screaming AI, 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 behind the scenes, the smartest people, the investors, the CEOs, they were asking a much deeper question. What comes next? Where's the real game-changing growth going to come from after this first massive wave of AI starts to settle?
And the answer to that question, well, it isn't just a single gadget or app. It's a whole new way of thinking about innovation, a concept that's being called alpha rising industries.
Okay, so what in the world does that actually mean? Well, think of alpha like you do in investing, right? It's the extra bit, the unexpected return, the thing that goes beyond the standard market. These industries, they just don't fit into our neat little pre-made boxes. And rising is, well, it's exactly what it sounds like. They are just now starting their climb, on the verge of defining the next decade. But here's where the thinking gets really, really interesting. The way you find these future giants isn't by chasing the shiniest new thing. Nope. The method is completely backwards. You have to start by looking at the problems. Yeah, you heard that right. Instead of just focusing on all the amazing things AI can do, this framework says we need to get real about its biggest weaknesses, its biggest obstacles. Why? Because the solutions to these huge, complicated problems, that's exactly where the next generation of major industries is going to come from. And there are three big ones. Okay, so obstacle number one is something we see in the headlines literally every single day: geopolitical risk. See, AI isn't just another fun app on your phone. It is deeply, fundamentally tangled up with national security and the global balance of power.
And this just perfectly captures the core tension. We're living in this era of what people call geoeconomics, which is just a way of saying you can't separate a country's global politics from its economic strategy anymore. They're the same game. So for every government, it's this constant dilemma. Do we push AI forward at all costs to get a competitive edge, or do we slam on the brakes and regulate it to control the risks? This constant back and forth creates a ton of uncertainty.
All right, that leads us right into the second big hurdle. You can see how these start to connect. It's the incredible, concentrated power of big tech. I mean, this isn't a new worry, but AI is basically pouring jet fuel on that fire. And listen, this isn't just a hunch. We've got hard data. Economists use this thing called the HHI score. Think of it as a monopoly meter. Anything over 1,800 is a giant red flag that a market is way too concentrated. And guess what? Nearly every major AI-related sector is blowing way past that number. It means a tiny, tiny handful of companies have an unbelievable amount of power.
And when you get that much power in so few hands, you inevitably get a backlash. People are calling it the tech-lash. It's this growing movement from both the public and from politicians saying enough is enough. This is what's driving this new wave of antitrust lawsuits, led by people like FTC Chair Lina Khan, all aimed at breaking up that power and letting new competitors actually have a chance.
In this third obstacle, well, this one might be the one that hits closest to home for a lot of us. It's the very real fear, and frankly, the evidence, that AI is making the gap between the rich and everyone else dramatically wider. It's like it creates these two totally different realities happening at the same time. For the people at the very top who have access to these powerful AI tools, you get a bonanza effect. Their wealth and the rewards just explode, way beyond what any one person could contribute. But for everyone else, there's the scaring effect. They get left behind, losing ground economically, feeling the scars of a system that just seems to be leaving them in the dust no matter how hard they work.
And this isn't just some abstract economic theory. It has real-world fallout. It pours gasoline on that K-shaped recovery we always hear about, where the top shoots up and the bottom falls down. It can fuel social unrest, it gives rise to movements like the Gen Z movement, and it's prompting calls for a completely new social contract, an impact movement that's built on empathy and finding a fair way to share the incredible wealth that technology can create.
So, geopolitical risk, monopolies, social inequality. Phew, these are three huge, kind of scary-sounding obstacles. But here's the twist. This is the big reveal. They aren't signs that AI is doomed. Not at all. They are the roadmaps. They are giant flashing neon signs pointing us exactly where the next wave of innovation has to go. And in fact, the world is already starting to move on this. You've got policy experts and world leaders who are starting to build a new framework to tackle these things head-on. It's being called the digital new rounds, basically an attempt to create new rules for the digital age so it works for everyone.
And just look at how this maps directly back to the problems we just laid out. The competition round? That's to fight the monopolies. The blue round? That's to address the labor and inequality from that scaring effect. The tech round? A direct answer to the tech-lash. Each one of these isn't just government talk. It represents a massive market opportunity, fertile ground for new companies to come in and build the solutions.
And this right here, this is the absolute key. The next big thing, the true alpha rising industry, it isn't going to be something that replaces AI. It's going to be an industry that fuses with AI to solve one of these fundamental problems. It's about combining the brain of AI with solutions for the physical, social, or political world.
Okay, so the theory is great, but what does one of these industries actually look like in the wild? This isn't just an idea on paper. Let's look at a real-world example that has investors really excited right now.
I'm talking about something that feels like it's straight out of science fiction, but is becoming very real, the field of humanoid robotics. It's a perfect example of this fusion idea, blending pure digital intelligence with the messy physical world.
Take a company like 1X Technologies. It's a private company, so you won't find it on the stock market, yet, but it is the perfect poster child for this alpha rising idea. It fuses incredibly advanced physical robots with a powerful AI brain. And what problem does it solve? One of the biggest we're facing, future labor shortages and just getting things done in the real world. This is exactly the kind of first mover that smart money is hunting for right now. So what's the big takeaway for you on all of this? Why does this matter? Well, it's really about shifting your entire perspective. It's about learning to see the future, not just in today's successes, but in the challenges and problems they create. You know, you hear all this talk about an AI bubble from famous investors like Michael Burry, and it sounds pretty scary. But this way of thinking kind of flips that on its head. Addressing these big obstacles, the monopolies, the inequality, it's like pruning the weak branches of a tree. It's painful in the short term, but it forces the trunk to grow stronger so that eventually it can bear incredible fruit. And that's really the heart of it. The biggest, thorniest, most annoying problems we have today are not just roadblocks. They are the most detailed, most accurate roadmaps we have to the industries of the future. The only question is, now that you've seen the map, where are you going to be looking?